Emma Sullivan had delivered thousands of packages in her life, but nothing could have prepared her for this one. It wasn't a wedding bouquet, a birthday gift, or even a simple thank you basket. This package was addressed to Julian Hart, billionaire, recluse, and the man who had shattered her heart a decade ago. Her hands trembled as she held the velvet-wrapped box. Memories of love lost, betrayal, and heartbreak surged back like a tidal wave. But and why had he reached out to her after all these years? As she rang the doorbell of the Grand Hart estate, Emma had no idea that crossing this threshold would change everything: her life, her heart, and the second chance at love she had never dared to imagine. Because what awaited inside wasn't just a reunion, it was a storm of secrets, danger, and passion. A storm that would force her to choose: run from the past, or risk everything for the love she thought she had lost forever. Before we dive into the gripping details of this story, don't forget to subscribe to the channel for more thrilling stories. Emma Sullivan had always believed life moved in small, predictable steps. She ran her tiny floral delivery shop in Willow Creek, the kind of place where everyone knew your name and the scent of fresh blooms lingered long after you left. Her days were filled with the quiet rhythm of arranging flowers, delivering joy, and listening to the stories of her customers. Yet, in her heart, there lingered a quiet longing, a space left by love lost too early. One crisp autumn morning, a delivery came with a twist that would change everything. The package was enormous, wrapped in velvet and tied with a satin bow, addressed to Mr. Julian Hart, private. Julian Hart, billionaire philanthropist and the man who had once held Emma's heart, though she hadn't seen him in over a decade. Her hands trembled as she read the name, memories rushing like a river breaking through a dam. She didn't know why he had reached out now. The last time they met, their love had ended in heartbreak. Life had pulled them in different directions, and pride had kept them apart. Emma took a deep breath, whispered a silent prayer to herself, and rang the doorbell of the Grand Hart estate. The door opened to reveal Julian, older, certainly, but somehow more real than the memories she clung to. His eyes held the same warmth she remembered, shadowed now with lines of regret and longing. "Emma," he said softly, as if her name itself was a balm he had been waiting years to hear. "I have your delivery," she managed, holding out the package. He took it, but his gaze never left hers. "This isn't just a delivery," he said, his voice trembling slightly. "I called you here because I need to tell you something. Something I should have told you years ago." Emma's heart raced. Could the man she once loved truly be standing before her, seeking forgiveness, seeking her heart again? Over the next few weeks, Emma found herself drawn back into Julian's world. A world of quiet luxury, yes, but also of charitable foundations, late-night conversations, and moments of vulnerability he shared with no one else. They laughed, they argued, and they reminisced about the past, each encounter peeling back layers of pain and regret. Yet, every step closer felt fragile, as if the past could shatter their fragile bond with a whisper. Emma wondered if love could truly survive a second chance. Could she risk her heart again, after so many years of protecting it? Julian seemed to ask the same question, his every glance filled with silent longing. Then, one stormy evening, Julian invited Emma to a gala at the estate. The wind howled outside, but inside, everything seemed suspended in warmth and light. As they stood on the balcony, overlooking the rain-soaked gardens, Julian took her hands in his. "Emma," he said, voice thick with emotion, "I never stopped loving you. I don't want to waste another moment. Will you let me try to make things right?" Before she could answer, a sharp sound echoed from the grand hall. A scream, a crash, then silence. Both of them froze, hearts pounding. Julian's phone buzzed violently. He read the message, eyes widening in disbelief, and turned to Emma with a face she had never seen before, fear mixed with urgency. It's about your past," he whispered. "Someone from back then, they found us." Emma's heart sank. The life she thought she had left behind had just arrived at her doorstep, threatening to undo everything. The second chance at love she was just beginning to believe in. And in that moment, the rain outside seemed to intensify, masking the footsteps that were growing closer to the door. The storm rattled the windows as Emma's pulse raced. Julian's hand tightened around hers, grounding her even as fear threatened to overwhelm. "We need to get to the safe room," he said, his voice low, urgent. "Safe room?" Emma echoed, glancing around the lavish estate. For a moment, she felt like she'd stepped into one of Julian's high-stakes business meetings rather than the life she'd known, the life she loved, with him. "My father had it built years ago," he explained, guiding her through the dimly lit hallways. "Just follow me and stay close." The safe room was a small, fortified chamber behind a hidden panel in the library, stocked with essentials: phones, water, even a first aid kit. Julian locked the door behind them, his eyes never leaving Emma. Who found us?" Emma whispered, her voice trembling. Julian ran a hand through his hair, frustration and worry mingling in his expression. "It's someone from the past, someone who never forgave me for what happened with you. They've been tracking us." Emma's stomach twisted. "Why me?" "Because you're the one I care about," Julian said without hesitation. "They don't want to hurt me, they want to hurt us. I won't let that happen." Emma felt a swell of emotions: fear, love, relief, and the old, familiar pull toward Julian that had never truly faded. "Julian," she started, then faltered, her voice barely audible. He cupped her face gently, as if anchoring her in the moment. "Emma, I can't lose you again. Not now, not ever." For a heartbeat, the storm outside, the danger, the past, it all seemed to vanish. She leaned into him, closing the distance that years of separation had once carved between them. The tension of the night, the unspoken longing, the second chance at love, all converged in that single, electric embrace. But then, a sharp noise shattered the fragile peace, a faint scratching at the door. Both of them froze. Julian moved to the door, peering through the small reinforced window. Shadows danced in the lightning flashes outside. "They're here," he said grimly. Emma's heart sank, but she didn't pull back. Instead, she pressed closer to him, as if the strength of their renewed love could shield them. Julian's eyes softened for a fleeting moment. "No matter what happens, we face it together," he promised. The scratching grew louder, more deliberate. The handle rattled violently, testing the door's locks. Emma gripped Julian's hand tighter. "Who is it?" she demanded, panic rising. Julian's jaw tightened. "Someone from the past, someone I thought I had buried long ago." A deep, mocking voice echoed from outside the door. "Thought you could hide, Julian? And you, little Emma? You didn't think I'd find you, did you?" The door shook again, harder this time, and a chill ran down Emma's spine. Julian pulled her close, his whisper barely audible. "Hold on to me. Whatever happens next, I won't let you go." Outside, the storm howled. Inside, their hearts raced. And somewhere in the shadows, a figure waited, watching, plotting, ready to unravel everything they had just begun to rebuild. The room went silent for a tense, terrifying moment, and then, the lights flickered. The lights flickered once, twice, and then plunged the room into near darkness. Rain pounded against the walls, masking the sounds outside, except for the relentless scratching and rattling at the door. Emma's breath caught in her throat. She pressed herself closer to Julian, who held her as if she were the most fragile thing in the world. "We have to stay calm," he whispered, though the tension in his voice betrayed him. "Panicking won't help." Emma nodded, but her hands were trembling. What if they get in?" "They won't," Julian said firmly, his jaw tightening. "I've prepared for this. Trust me." For a moment, silence fell. Only the storm remained, a wild symphony outside. Then a new sound cut through, a soft, deliberate knock, a signal different from the earlier attacks. Julian frowned. "That's not them." Emma tilted her head. "Not them?" "No," he said. "This is someone I wasn't expecting. Someone who might actually help." The knock came again, this time followed by a whisper. "Julian, it's me. Open the door." Julian exchanged a wary glance with Emma. "Who is it?" "I'll explain everything once I'm inside," the voice said, urgent yet familiar. After a tense pause, Julian slowly unlocked the hidden panel. The door creaked open, and a tall figure stepped inside, drenched from the rain, but with an unmistakable air of authority. Emma's heart skipped a beat as recognition hit her. "Maya?" she breathed. Maya, Julian's sister, the woman who had always been his protector, his confidant, and sometimes the only person who could make him bend to reason. She looked exhausted, her clothes soaked, but her eyes burned with determination. "You didn't tell me she was here," Maya said, glancing at Emma, then at Julian. "I didn't want to drag her into this," Julian admitted. "I didn't know. I didn't think it would catch up so fast." Maya's gaze sharpened. "It already has. And it's worse than we thought. They're not just after you, Julian. They're after everything, your fortune, your company, and Emma. They want to break you." Emma's stomach twisted. "Break us? But why?" Maya stepped closer, lowering her voice. "Because someone you trusted, someone close to you, betrayed you years ago. They've been waiting for the right moment to strike. And now, that moment is here." Julian's eyes darkened, a mix of rage and fear. "We have to move. Now." Emma's hand found Julian's again, fingers intertwining with a desperate, unspoken need. "Where do we go?" she asked. Julian held her gaze, a flicker of hope in his storm-tossed eyes. "Somewhere safe. Somewhere they can't find us." "Emma," he hesitated, voice trembling, "if we survive this, I want us to finally have a life together. No more hiding. No more fear. Just this." Emma swallowed hard, her heart aching and soaring all at once. "Then let's go," she whispered. As they prepared to leave the safe room, a shadow moved outside the library window, silent, watching, waiting. Emma shivered, clutching Julian tightly. "Do you think they'll stop?" Julian shook his head slowly. "Not until they get what they want. But we fight. Together." And with that, they stepped into the storm, hearts entwined, love renewed, and danger closing in from all sides. But somewhere in the darkness, a figure smiled. A secret plan already unfolding, one that could tear them apart before they even reached safety. The rain pelted their faces as Julian led Emma and Maya through the winding gardens of the Hart estate. Thunder rumbled above, echoing the fear and adrenaline in Emma's chest. She clutched Julian's arm, trusting him completely, yet terrified of what lay ahead. "Where are we going?" she shouted over the storm. "To the old boathouse," Julian yelled back, his eyes scanning the shadows. "It's off the main grid. No cameras, no trackers. We can disappear from them there, at least for a while." Maya moved ahead, flashlight cutting through the darkness. "Hurry! I just saw movement near the gate. They're closing in faster than we thought." Emma's heart raced as Julian pulled her into a sprint. Every step felt like a gamble. One misstep could bring their pursuers crashing down on them. Yet in the chaos, there was a strange clarity. Every beat of her heart matched his, every breath drawn together. For the first time in years, she felt fully alive. They reached the boathouse, a weathered structure perched on the edge of the lake. Julian pushed the door open, and inside, the dim glow of lanterns revealed stacked crates and old rowing boats. It smelled of damp wood and history, but it was safe, for now. Maya bolted the door behind them. "We have maybe 30 minutes before they figure out the shortcut I used. Then we'll have to move again." Julian turned to Emma, dripping wet but resolute. "Are you okay?" Emma nodded, breathless. "I'm scared, Julian. But being here with you, it feels right." Julian's hands cupped her face, wiping a raindrop from her cheek. "It's going to be okay. I promise. We've survived this long, together. We can survive anything." For a moment, time seemed to slow. Outside, the storm raged, the wind screaming through the trees. Inside, Emma felt the weight of years melt away. The heartbreak, the doubts, the distance. All that remained was Julian and the fragile, burning hope of love reclaimed. Then a loud crash shattered the fragile peace. The boathouse door rattled violently. "They found us," Maya whispered, drawing a small handheld crossbow, one of Julian's emergency gadgets. "Get ready." Emma's heart pounded, but she stayed close to Julian. "What do we do?" Julian's eyes met hers, filled with both urgency and unwavering devotion. "We fight." And then we escape. The shadows outside shifted, and a familiar voice sneered through the storm. Did you really think you could hide from me, Julian? And you, the little florist, so predictable. Emma's stomach lurched. Recognition hit her in an instant. It's him, she whispered, terror creeping into her voice. The one who caused everything before. Julian's fists clenched. He's here. And he won't stop until he destroys everything we've rebuilt. Hold on to me. No matter what happens. They braced themselves as the door shook one last time, ready to give way. Lightning illuminated the figure outside, tall, menacing, and impossibly calm amid the chaos. Emma felt her hand squeeze Julian's tighter. I'm not letting go. Good, Julian said, his voice fierce with determination. Because neither am I. The door splintered, and in that instant, everything changed. The boathouse door splintered under a final, violent push. Rain and wind tore through the opening, carrying with them the shadow of the man who had haunted Julian and Emma for years. Julian stepped in front of Emma instinctively, shielding her with his broad frame. Emma, stay behind me, he shouted, voice sharp with fear and determination. Emma's hands found his again. I'm not leaving you, she said, her voice trembling but steady. We face this together. The intruder stepped into the flickering light, a cruel smile curling his lips. Together, he mocked. You have no idea what's coming. Maya raised her crossbow, aiming with precision. Stay back or you'll regret it. The man's eyes flicked toward her, then back to Julian. You really think this ends here? You've taken everything from me already, now it's your turn to lose. Julian's jaw tightened. Not this time. You won't touch her. Emma's heart pounded in her chest. She had spent so long protecting herself from pain, from loss, from love, and now, all that fear collided with something far stronger, the undeniable, blazing truth that she and Julian were meant to face life together. Julian, whatever happens, she whispered, pressing her forehead against his, I love you. Julian's eyes softened for the briefest of moments. I love you too, Emma. Always have. Always will. But there was no time for comfort. The intruder lunged. Maya fired her crossbow, and the man barely dodged, crashing into a stack of crates. Julian grabbed Emma's hand and pulled her toward the back of the boathouse, where an old wooden boat waited. Get in, he shouted. They clambered in, water seeping into the hull as Julian shoved off. The storm had intensified, waves lapping violently against the shore. Emma gripped the side of the boat, heart in her throat. Outside, the man emerged from the boathouse, soaking and enraged, but the boat already gained speed. Julian rowed with all his strength, muscles straining, eyes locked on the dark horizon where safety, or at least temporary refuge, awaited. The wind tore at their clothes, the rain pelted their faces, but in the middle of the chaos, Julian leaned close to Emma. We're alive. We're together. That's all that matters right now. Emma clutched him tightly, letting herself believe it, even as the storm threatened to tear everything apart. Together, she echoed, determination replacing fear. Yet as they reached the far edge of the lake, lightning illuminated the water, and something beneath the surface caught Julian's eye. A shadow, larger than any boat, moving fast, keeping pace with them. Emma froze. Julian, what is that? Julian's face went pale. It's not just him. Someone, or something, is waiting for us. The boat pitched violently, and Emma screamed, the storm swallowing their cries. Julian's hands never left hers, but even he couldn't hide the growing fear in his eyes. And as the shadow rose closer, a dark silhouette leapt from the water, heading straight for them. Emma's heart lurched, and Julian's grip tightened. Hold on, he shouted, his voice barely audible over the wind. And in that moment, the world seemed to hang by a single, fragile thread. Their love, their lives, everything they had fought for, teetering on the edge of the unknown. The boat rocked violently as the dark silhouette surged closer, cutting through the stormy lake like a shadow with purpose. Emma's hands gripped Julian's arm, fear and adrenaline coursing through her veins. Hold on. Julian shouted again, rowing with every ounce of strength he had. Water splashed over the sides, soaking them to the bone, but neither moved. Their focus was singular: survival. Emma's eyes widened as she saw the figure leap from the water. It wasn't just a person. The intruder had allies. Several shadowy forms emerged, cutting through the waves toward them with uncanny speed. Julian's heart pounded. "Maya, can you?" Maya leaned over the side of the boat, quickly assembling a flare from her emergency kit. With a flick of her wrist, she ignited it and threw it toward the attackers. The bright light cut through the storm, momentarily blinding them. Emma gasped, heart hammering. "It's working!" Julian didn't let up, rowing harder, muscles burning. "We're not safe yet. Keep your eyes open." For a moment, amidst the chaos, the world narrowed to just the two of them. Rain streaked down Emma's face, mingling with tears she didn't know she was holding back. She looked at Julian, soaked, determined, fierce, and felt a surge of emotion stronger than fear. "I don't care what happens," she whispered, gripping his shirt. "I'm not letting go. Not now, not ever." Julian's eyes softened, despite the danger. "I won't let you go either, Emma. You have my word." But the shadowy figures weren't giving up. One surged closer, landing just on the edge of the boat, making it pitch dangerously. Emma screamed, and Julian barely managed to steady them. "Jump!" Julian yelled, seizing her hand. "We can't fight them all here." Emma's heart lurched. "Where?" "Towards the cove," Julian shouted, pointing toward a narrow inlet hidden by trees and fog. "It's shallow, too dangerous for them to follow at speed. We can hide, just a little longer." With a leap of faith, Julian guided the boat into the cove. Water splashed over the sides as they narrowly avoided rocks and fallen branches. The attackers skidded past the cove entrance, their momentum carrying them forward. For a brief, heart-stopping moment, silence fell, broken only by the wind and the water lapping against the hull. Emma collapsed against Julian, drenched and shaking, but alive. "He made it," she whispered, her voice trembling with relief and disbelief. Julian held her close, pressing a kiss to her temple. "Not just made it. We're together. That's what matters." Maya's voice came from the stern, sharp but relieved. "We've got a few minutes, maybe an hour at most. We need a plan, and fast. They won't give up that easily." Emma pulled back slightly, looking into Julian's eyes, the intensity of the storm mirrored in his gaze. "Then we fight together," she said firmly. "Whatever it takes. No running. No hiding. Just us." Julian's lips curved into a determined smile, and he brushed a wet strand of hair from her face. "I like the sound of that." But just as relief began to settle, a dark shadow loomed above the water near the cove entrance. A familiar figure stepped into view, tall, menacing, and impossibly calm amid the chaos. Emma's stomach dropped. She recognized him immediately. Julian's face hardened. "He's back." The storm raged around them, the lake's waters churning like the tension in their hearts. And in that moment, Emma realized the truth. Their second chance at love wasn't just threatened by danger, it was about to be tested in a way neither of them had ever imagined. The shadowy figure at the cove entrance didn't hesitate. With a sudden, precise movement, he pushed a small boat into the water, cutting off Julian, Emma, and Maya's only escape. Rain lashed against them, lightning illuminating his cold, unyielding face. Julian's jaw tightened. "He's not leaving us alone. Not now, not ever." Emma gripped his arm, fear and determination mingling. "Then we stop him. Together." Maya readied her flare again, whispering under her breath, "Just like old times, Julian. We've faced worse." Julian nodded, eyes locked on the approaching enemy. Stay close to me. No matter what." Emma's heart swelled. "Always." The attacker leapt toward their boat, and Julian used the momentum to push Emma and Maya safely to the other side of the cove while he faced the man head-on. Emma watched, breathless, as Julian's strength and courage shone through, every movement calculated, every glance protective, every heartbeat a promise she could feel. The rain poured down in sheets, turning the cove into a blur of water, shadows, and lightning. The man lunged again, and Julian dodged, grabbing a sturdy branch from the shoreline to block him. Sparks flew when the branch struck a metal hook the intruder carried. Emma shouted, "Julian!" but he merely nodded at her, signaling to trust him, to believe in the bond they shared. Maya joined in, hurling a flare that exploded near the intruder, forcing him to retreat temporarily. Julian used the moment to shove the man back toward the edge of the water. They circled, neither giving ground, neither willing to let the other win. Emma's hands shook, but she reached out and grabbed Julian's, whispering, "I'm here. I'm not leaving you." Julian's eyes softened, even as his muscles tensed to strike again. "I know, Emma. That's all I need." The intruder snarled, and with a sudden, desperate leap, lunged at Julian. The boat tipped, water splashing over the sides. Emma screamed, but Julian's hand found hers instantly, anchoring her as he wrestled the man toward the shoreline. Maya shouted instructions, guiding them through the shallow waters toward a hidden rock formation at the edge of the cove. "Almost there. Keep moving." With one final, coordinated effort, Julian pushed the intruder into the water. The man splashed, sputtered, and retreated into the dark, the storm masking his escape. For a moment, silence fell. Only the wind, the rain, and the pounding of hearts. Julian pulled Emma into his arms, drenched, exhausted, but alive. "We did it," he whispered. "We survived." Emma pressed herself against him, tears mixing with the rain. "We did it together." Maya smirked despite the chaos. "You two make a terrifyingly good team. Just try not to drown next time, okay?" Julian laughed, the sound raw with relief and love. "No promises." Emma smiled through her tears, looking into his eyes. "Whatever happens, we face it together. No more running. No more hiding. Just us." Julian brushed the rain from her face, cupping her cheeks gently. "Just us," he echoed. The storm began to ease, the first hints of dawn breaking through the clouds. The lake, once chaotic and threatening, reflected the soft, golden light of hope. But even as they clung to each other, victorious yet battered, a faint ripple disturbed the water nearby. A shadowy figure, smaller but unmistakably dangerous, watched from the distance, silent, patient, waiting for the next moment to strike. Emma's heart skipped a beat. "Julian, it's not over." Julian pulled her closer, pressing a kiss to her forehead. "Then we'll face it. Together. Always." And with that, the lake's mist curled around them, hiding both danger and promise, leaving the future uncertain, but their hearts undeniably entwined. The first light of morning broke over Willow Creek, painting the lake in shades of gold and pink. The storm had passed, leaving the air fresh and clean, and the cove was calm, almost serene. Julian and Emma sat side by side on the wooden dock, their feet dangling just above the water. Wet clothes clung to them, but neither cared. Emma leaned against Julian's shoulder, the rhythm of his heartbeat steadying her own. "I can't believe we made it through," she murmured, her fingers tracing patterns on his arm. Julian smiled, brushing a damp strand of hair from her face. "Neither can I. But we did. And we're here together. That's all that matters." Emma tilted her head up, catching his gaze. "Do you really mean it?" He pulled her into his arms, holding her tightly. "Every word. I won't let anything take you from me again. You're my second chance at love, my only chance." Tears filled Emma's eyes, but they were tears of joy. "And you're mine," she whispered. "Always." Maya appeared from the treeline, carrying a small emergency kit and a mischievous grin. "Well, congratulations. You two survived a storm, a near drowning, and a very determined ex-villain. I'd say you've earned breakfast." Emma laughed softly, the sound blending with the gentle lapping of the water. "I'll never forget this day." Julian kissed the top of her head. "Neither will I. But it's not over yet, Emma. We've faced danger together, and we've come out stronger. There may be more storms ahead, but..." He paused, squeezing her hand. "We'll face them all. Together." Emma nodded, resting her head against his chest. "Together," she echoed, a promise as much to herself as to him. But as the sun rose higher, casting golden light over the peaceful lake, A subtle ripple disturbed the far edge of the water. A shadowy figure lingered just beyond the trees, watching the couple with quiet intensity. Emma shivered, sensing a faint unease. "Julian, do you see that?" Julian's eyes narrowed, protective and fierce. "I do. But whatever it is, we'll face it. Together." Hand in hand, hearts entwined, they rose from the dock, ready to face whatever challenges the world might throw at them. Their second chance at love had been hard-won, but it was theirs, unbreakable, resilient, and full of promise. And somewhere in the shadows, the storm was not yet finished. The morning sun glimmered on the lake, soft and warm, but Emma couldn't shake the icy feeling crawling up her spine. She kept her eyes fixed on the treeline, the place where she'd seen the shadow, a silhouette too still, too deliberate, too familiar. Julian followed her gaze, his expression shifting from peaceful to alert. He stepped slightly in front of her, instinctively shielding her with his body. "Don't be afraid," he murmured, his voice steady. "Whatever this is, we're not facing it alone." But Emma wasn't afraid. Not anymore. Not after surviving storms, darkness, and betrayal. Not with Julian beside her, his hand warm and sure in hers. "I'm not scared," she whispered. "I'm just not ready for this to start again." Julian's eyes softened. "It won't be like before. This time, we know who we are. We know what we mean to each other. They can chase us, threaten us." He took her face in his hands, his touch gentle, sacred. "But they can't break us." Before Emma could answer, Maya hustled down the path carrying 2 backpacks and a concerned frown. "Bad news," she announced, dropping the bags with a thud. "I tried to radio my contacts, someone jammed the signal. And the security team I called." She exhaled sharply. "Intercepted before they got within 10 miles. Julian stiffened. "Intercepted by who?" Maya didn't blink. "By him." Emma's heart sank. The shadow in the trees seemed to thicken at the mention of the man who had tormented their lives. A ghost from the past who refused to stay buried. Julian wrapped an arm around Emma's shoulders. "We're leaving. Now." But before they could take a step, a soft rustling came from the treeline. Emma's breath caught. Maya reached for her flare gun. Julian tightened his grip around Emma's waist. Then a small figure stepped out of the bushes. Emma blinked. Julian froze. Maya's jaw dropped. It wasn't the intruder. It was a child. A little boy, maybe 7 years old, with dark, stormy eyes and soaked clothes. Fear clung to him like a shadow. He looked directly at Julian, and something in his gaze made Emma's heart skip. The boy swallowed hard. "Please," he said in a trembling voice. "I need your help." Julian stepped forward slowly. "It's okay. You're safe with us. What's your name?" The boy hesitated, just for a second, then whispered, "Liam." Emma knelt down to his level, offering a soft smile. "Hi, Liam. Are you lost?" Liam shook his head. "I wasn't running away," he said quietly. "I was running to you." Julian exchanged a tense glance with Maya. "Why would you come to us?" Liam's eyes glistened with fear, and something else. Something terribly familiar. "Because," he said, voice cracking, "the man who's chasing you, he's chasing me too." Emma's stomach twisted. Julian dropped to one knee looking the boy squarely in the eyes. "Who is he to you, Liam?" The boy hesitated, then whispered the words that froze the entire world. "He's my father." And then, slowly, painfully, Liam turned his gaze to Julian. "And he said you would try to take me away from him again." Emma gasped. Julian went pale. Maya cursed under her breath. Before anyone could speak again, a single branch snapped deeper in the woods. Liam's face drained of color. "He found us." Julian pulled Emma behind him. Maya raised her weapon. Liam clung to Emma's hand like it was the only safe thing in his world. And from the shadows, a familiar, cold, merciless voice echoed through the trees. "Julian, bring me the boy. Or this time, none of you walk away." Emma's heart thundered. Julian stepped forward, his voice low, deadly, protective. "Over my dead body." The lake went silent. The wind stilled. The world held its breath. and the shadow stepped forward. The shadow stepped out of the trees slowly, deliberately, as if savoring the fear he caused. His dark coat whipped in the breeze, and his gaze locked onto Julian with a hatred so sharp it could cut through steel. Emma instinctively pulled Liam closer, her arms wrapping around the trembling boy. Julian stepped in front of them, muscles tensed, jaw set. Maya raised her flare gun without a word. The man smiled coldly. "Always the hero, aren't you, Julian?" Julian's voice was low, dangerous. "Don't come any closer." "Oh, I won't," the intruder replied, spreading his hands mockingly. "Not yet. Not until the boy comes to me." Liam clutched Emma's waist, his small voice cracking. "No, no, please don't make me go." Emma felt her heart break. She tightened her grip protectively. "You're not going anywhere, sweetheart." The man's gaze flicked to Emma. "And you must be the florist. The reason Julian went soft all those years ago." Julian's eyes flared. "Leave her out of this." "On the contrary," the man said calmly, "she's part of the reason we're here." Maya took a step forward. "Enough with the riddles. What do you want?" The man tilted his head, eyes sharpening like a knife. "Justice." Julian scoffed. "Justice? You've been attacking us for days." "For years," the man snapped, the calm mask cracking. "You think you can destroy a man's life and walk away unscathed? You took everything from me, Julian. My company. My reputation. And now..." His gaze slid to Liam. "My son." Emma's breath caught. Maya went still. Julian's face darkened with something between fury and heartbreak. "That boy," Julian said slowly, deliberately, "deserves protection. Not whatever twisted world you're dragging him into." The man laughed, a harsh, bitter sound that echoed across the water. "You always thought you knew what was best." His eyes narrowed. "But you don't know the whole story. Do any of you?" Julian didn't flinch. "Then tell us." The man looked at Liam, really looked at him, and something flickered in his gaze. Not softness, not love, but desperation. "You never understood," he said quietly. "Liam is all I have left. And I will not lose him to you too." Emma frowned, confused. "To him too?" Julian never tried to take Liam. The man's smile returned, dark and hollow. "Oh, Emma, he didn't tell you?" Julian's jaw clenched. "Don't." The man stepped forward, just enough to let the truth settle like a storm breaking overhead. "Julian knew Liam's mother," he said softly. "Better than I ever did." Emma froze. Her world tilted. Julian inhaled sharply. "It's not what you think." The man laughed again, raising his voice over the rising wind. "Oh, but it is. You always destroy everything you touch, Julian. And now, she deserves the truth." Emma felt her throat tighten. "Julian, what is he talking about?" Julian turned toward her, his expression raw, pained, afraid. "Emma, please, let me explain." The intruder stepped closer, voice dripping venom. "Tell her, Julian. Tell her why Liam looks so much like you. Tell her why his mother came to you before she died." Emma's heart stopped. Maya gasped. Liam looked up, confused and scared. Julian closed his eyes for a single second, a second that felt like an eternity, then opened them again, full of tears he couldn't hide. "Emma," his voice broke. "There's something I should have told you long ago." Emma reached for him instinctively, her voice trembling. "Julian, what is Liam to you?" Julian swallowed hard. And then, the villain lunged. Maya fired. Emma screamed. Liam cried out. Julian moved faster than instinct. And the truth hanging between them shattered into chaos. The world exploded into motion. Maya's flare shot through the air with a blinding streak. The intruder dove aside. Julian grabbed Emma and Liam, pulling them down just as the flare burst against a tree, erupting in a flash of red-orange light. Shouting. The crack of branches. Emma shielded Liam with her body, her heartbeat pounding in her ears. "Stay down," Julian barked, moving in front of them like a human shield. The villain stumbled out of the smoke, coughing, rage burning in his eyes. "You think that will stop me? You think anything can stop what you started? Maya aimed again. Don't take another step. He froze, but the fury didn't leave his face. It grew darker, sharper, sharper than the wind slicing across the lake. Julian straightened slowly, breathing hard. No more running. No more threats. This ends now. The man laughed, a bitter, hollow sound. You think this is about ending something? This is about finishing what you ruined. Emma gripped Julian's arm. Julian, please. We need answers. Not more fighting. For a moment, just a thin, trembling moment, Julian's strong facade cracked. He turned toward her, eyes full of fear and love and a pain he'd carried alone for too long. Emma, he whispered, I never wanted you to learn it like this. The intruder growled. Then maybe you should have told her the truth years ago. Julian rounded on him. You don't get to speak about truth. You're the one who twisted everything. Twisted? The man snapped. Twisted is what you did to me. To my family. Liam whimpered. Emma held him tighter, whispering, It's okay. You're safe. I promise. The man's eyes softened, almost imperceptibly, at the sight of his son. For the first time, emotion cracked through. Liam, he said, voice shaking, come here. The boy clung to Emma and shook his head. No, I don't want to go with you. I don't like the things you do. A muscle in the man's jaw twitched. See, Julian said quietly. He's scared of you. I've protected him, the man thundered. I've kept him alive. You think you know him better than I do? Julian's voice dropped, so quiet, so full of something aching that Emma felt it in her bones. I don't know him better than you, he said softly. But I knew his mother better than you ever understood. The man went still. Like death. Emma's breath caught. She slowly rose, keeping Liam behind her. Julian, she said in a fragile whisper. Tell me. Julian turned to her. His eyes glistened. His voice broke. She came to me, he said, the night before she died. The forest held its breath. She was scared, Julian continued. She said she couldn't protect him anymore. That someone was watching her, threatening her, controlling her. The villain's face twisted. Lies. No, Julian snapped. She begged me to help, to take Liam somewhere safe if anything happened to her. Emma felt the ground shift beneath her feet. Her heart splintered for the boy shaking behind her. Why didn't you tell me? She whispered. Julian's voice turned raw. Because I promised her. I promised I would keep him hidden. I promised not to tell anyone until he was old enough. I promised I would protect him from the man who made her life hell. He pointed directly at the villain. The villain flinched. His mask shattered. You think she wasn't safe with me? He said hoarsely. You think I didn't love her? You controlled her, Julian said coldly. You isolated her. You destroyed her. And you stole her, the man roared. Julian stiffened. Emma gasped. Maya lowered her weapon, stunned. The intruder's chest rose and fell in ragged breaths. You stole her, he whispered. You stole every good thing I ever had. Silence. Only wind moved. Emma's voice came out barely audible. Julian, is Liam? Julian turned to her. Tears gathered at the corners of his eyes. No, he said softly. He's not my biological son. Emma exhaled shakily. But Julian looked at the trembling boy. He could have been. She and I. His voice cracked. We were in love before she married him. Emma pressed a hand to her mouth. The world spun. Julian's truth hung heavy between them. A past love, a broken promise, a child caught between danger and destiny. The villain took a slow step forward. Maya aimed again. He didn't care. You always take what's mine, he said softly. First her, now him. Julian stepped forward too. His voice was steel and fire. I'm not taking him. I'm saving him. The man's face hardened. Then you leave me no choice. He reached into his coat. Emma screamed. Maya fired. Julian lunged. Liam cried out. And before anyone could move, a second shadow appeared behind the villain. A voice Emma had never heard before, deep, gravelly, dangerous, echoed through the trees. "Put the weapon down. Now." The villain froze. Emma's heart stopped. Julian turned slowly. Maya swore under her breath. Liam squeezed Emma's hand. And the second shadow stepped fully into view. The stranger stepped out of the trees with calm, predatory precision, a stark contrast to the chaos around him. He was tall, broad-shouldered, dressed in dark outdoor gear, and his presence radiated authority. Not aggression, not panic. Authority, the kind that made everyone freeze. Even the villain, still holding a weapon, hesitated. Maya's grip on the flare gun tightened. Julian moved instinctively closer to Emma and Liam. Emma whispered, "Julian, do you know him?" Julian shook his head slowly, eyes narrowed. "No, I've never seen him before." The stranger kept his focus on the villain, voice low but unmistakably commanding. "I said put the weapon down." "What gives you the right?" the villain snarled. The stranger cut him off. "Your next move determines whether you walk away from this forest." The villain's hand twitched. "Who are you?" The stranger didn't blink. "Someone who's been tracking you for a very long time." A chill raced down Emma's spine. Liam pressed into her side, whispering, "Is he good or bad?" Emma swallowed. "I don't know yet." But she hoped, desperately, that the universe had finally sent them someone on their side. "Tracking me?" the villain spat. "I'm not some criminal you can hunt." "You're exactly that," the stranger said calmly. "And worse." Julian stepped forward, voice taut. "Explain. Now." The stranger finally broke eye contact with the villain and looked directly at Julian. His eyes were sharp, and strangely familiar. "You're Julian Hart." Julian tensed. "You know me?" "I know enough." The stranger reached into his pocket slowly, carefully, and produced a badge. Maya gasped. Emma felt her breath hitch. Julian's eyes widened. It wasn't police. Not FBI. Not anything familiar. It was international. A symbol of a covert investigative agency few people ever encountered unless something had gone very, very wrong. Emma whispered, "Oh my God." The stranger nodded once, then spoke directly to the villain. "You've been under surveillance for months. For extortion, coercion, child endangerment." The villain lunged. "I never hurt my son." "Not physically," the agent said quietly. "But you destroyed everything around him." A crack rippled through the villain's facade. For a moment, he looked less like a monster and more like a broken man cornered by his own sins. "Liam," he whispered. "I was trying to protect you." Liam shook his head and clung to Emma. "I don't want your protection. I want to be safe." Something inside the villain shattered. Julian exhaled shakily. "Agent, whoever you are, what does this have to do with me?" The stranger looked at him, really looked at him, and the emotion Emma saw flicker across his face left her breathless. "This case intersects with your life more than you know," the agent said. He turned his gaze to Liam. "And his." The boy swallowed, frightened but curious. Slowly, the agent crouched down to Liam's level. "Hi," he said gently. "My name is Agent Rowan Hale." Liam blinked. "Hi." Agent Hale's voice softened even further. "I've been trying to keep you safe." Emma's chest tightened. The villain roared. "Liar! You were trying to take him from me." Agent Hale rose again, taller, colder, unforgiving. "No. I was trying to stop you from using him." The forest stilled. Julian's voice came out low, rough. "Using him for what?" Agent Hale hesitated, for the first time since he appeared. Then he said the words that knocked the breath from all of them. "For the inheritance." Emma blinked. "The what?" Agent Hale's gaze moved between Julian and the villain. "Liam isn't just a child caught between you two," he said. "He's heir to a fortune larger than either of you have acknowledged." Julian froze. Emma felt her pulse race. Maya muttered something sharp under her breath. The villain laughed, a broken, hysterical sound. "You hear that, Julian? Your precious Emma, your perfect new life. It's all built on lies you never knew." Julian stepped forward. "What lies?" But Agent Hale lifted a hand. Not here, he said, not with the threat still standing. His gaze hardened again. Drop the weapon, Andrew. The villain, Andrew, trembled. His grip slackened. He looked at Liam one last time, pain flooding his features. He dropped the weapon to the forest floor. Agent Hale moved instantly, securing him with swift, practiced motions. Maya lowered her flare gun with a shaky exhale. Julian rushed to Emma and pulled her and Liam into his arms. Emma held him tightly, whispering, it's okay, though she wasn't sure if she said it for Liam or for herself. Agent Hale rose, cuffs secured, and nodded. It's over. Julian held Emma's waist, his chest rising and falling. Is it? Agent Hale looked at him, and there was something like regret in his eyes. No, he said quietly. Not even close. Emma felt the bottom drop out of her stomach, and then Agent Hale added words that made her blood turn to ice. Julian, there's something you need to know about Liam's mother. Julian stiffened. Emma gripped his hand. Agent Hale took a breath. She didn't just come to you for help. His voice fell to a low, heavy whisper. She came to you because she believed you were Liam's real father. Emma's eyes widened. Julian's breath caught. Liam looked up, confused, and Agent Hale spoke the final blow. She left a letter for you, but someone hid it. Julian felt the world tilt. Emma felt her heart stop. Maya swore under her breath, and Liam whispered, Am I? Julian couldn't answer. Not yet, because Agent Hale pulled a weathered envelope from his jacket, with Julian's name written on it, in the handwriting of the woman he once loved. Julian's hands trembled as he took the envelope from Agent Hale. The handwriting, delicate, familiar, and heart-wrenchingly personal, made his chest tighten. Emma knelt beside him, holding Liam close. Her heart pounded, sensing the gravity of what was about to be revealed. Julian's fingers hovered over the seal. He took a deep breath, glanced at Emma, and whispered, Whatever this says, we face it together. Emma nodded, gripping his arm. Together, she echoed. With a careful motion, Julian broke the seal and unfolded the letter. The paper was yellowed with age, and the words seemed to shimmer with the weight of the past. He read aloud, voice shaking slightly. Julian, if you are reading this, it means I am gone. I cannot stay to protect him any longer, or myself. Liam, he is yours in ways no one else can understand. I have loved him from the moment he was born, and I have loved you, but I feared the world, and the man who watches over us. Protect him, guide him, love him as I would have, and never let him know fear. I trust you to finish what I cannot. Julian's eyes stung with tears. His voice faltered. Emma, she trusted me with him. She believed I was his father in every sense that matters. Emma wrapped her arms around Liam, who was staring at Julian with wide, uncertain eyes. Is it true? Liam asked softly. Am I really yours? Julian knelt down so he was eye to eye with Liam, holding both of the boys' hands. No, Liam, he said gently. Not by blood, but by everything else that matters. You're my son in every way that counts. I promise you, I will protect you. Always. Liam's shoulders relaxed, a small smile breaking through. Emma felt tears spill freely, a mixture of relief, love, and the fragile hope of family finally coming together. But even as they embraced, Agent Hale spoke again, voice low and urgent. This isn't over. Andrew, your adversary, may be in custody for now, but his network is extensive. Someone will come for him, or for Liam. We have very little time to ensure he's truly safe. Julian straightened, determination hardening in his gaze. Then we make sure no one threatens him again. No one. We face it all together. Emma reached for his hand, squeezing it tightly. Together, she said. Maya, ever practical, spoke up, voice tinged with urgency. We need to move Liam somewhere secure. Somewhere no one will think to look for him. We can't risk leaving him here. Julian nodded. You're right. We plan, we protect, and then we make sure this family, us, stays together. Liam looked between Julian and Emma, a hesitant but growing hope in his eyes. "Can I stay with you?" he asked softly. Julian's chest swelled. "You already are," he said, pulling him into a firm, protective hug. Emma rested her head against Julian's shoulder, feeling the warmth, the strength, and the unspoken promise of love that had endured every storm. But as the morning sun glinted across the lake, a ripple disturbed the water near the cove, subtle, almost imperceptible. Agent Hale's eyes narrowed. "Not everyone's been caught yet," he said grimly. Emma shivered, pressing closer to Julian. Julian held her tighter, his jaw set, voice low but unwavering. "Then we faced them too. Together. No matter what." The lake was calm. The storm had passed. But danger still lingered, waiting, watching, ready to test the fragile new life they had fought so hard to protect. And somewhere, in the shadows beyond the trees, a figure watched, patient, silent, and planning their next move. The cove was quiet now, the aftermath of the storm leaving the world deceptively peaceful. But Julian, Emma, Liam, and Maya knew better. Danger had not vanished. It was simply lurking, waiting for the perfect moment. Julian knelt beside Liam, studying the boy's small, worried face. "We need a safe place. Somewhere no one will think to look for you." Liam shook his head. "I don't want to hide. I want to stay with you and Emma." Julian's chest tightened. He swallowed, fighting the fear he refused to show. "You will, buddy. I promise. But first, we make sure no one can find us." Maya, scanning the tree line, spoke firmly. "I know a place. Old family cabin in the woods. Off the grid. No cameras, no trails. Completely secure. We can lay low there until Andrew's network is neutralized." Emma nodded, tugging Liam closer. "It's not hiding," she whispered. "It's protecting him. And protecting all of us." Julian pulled her into a quick, comforting hug, his lips brushing the top of her head. "I love you," he murmured. "I promise I won't let anything happen to you or him." Emma's heart fluttered despite the tension. "I love you too," she whispered, letting herself savor the moment, however brief. Maya interrupted gently. "We don't have much time. Let's move before someone realizes Andrew's been captured." The journey to the cabin was tense but uneventful. Julian rowed them across the lake, Emma and Liam sharing the small boat, Maya scanning the horizon with her keen eyes. Every shadow, every rustle in the trees, sent shivers down their spines. Finally, the cabin came into view, rustic, sturdy, hidden among tall pines, with smoke curling from a stone chimney. Julian's jaw relaxed slightly. Safe. Inside, the cabin smelled of pine and wood smoke. It was small but warm and inviting, and Emma immediately went to work unpacking the few essentials they brought. Liam explored the space, eyes wide with curiosity and awe. Julian watched them both, heart swelling. "We fought so hard to get here," he said softly. "And now, we just need to stay one step ahead." Emma stepped closer, resting her hand on his arm. "We've survived storms, threats, and shadows from the past. We can survive this too." Julian's eyes softened. "With you and Liam by my side, I feel like I can face anything." Liam ran up to them, holding a small wooden carving he'd found on the cabin shelf. "Look," he exclaimed. "It's a dragon. It can protect us." Emma laughed, relief spilling through her voice. "It will, Liam. Dragons protect their families." Julian smiled, tugging them both into a hug. "Then we have our guardian dragon." But even as they embraced, Julian's phone buzzed silently on the table. He picked it up, frowning at the screen. A single message blinked. "You think you're safe? Think again." Emma froze. Liam clutched her hand. Julian's grip tightened around them both. Maya muttered under her breath, "Looks like the storm isn't over yet." Julian's jaw set. "Then we prepare. And we make sure the next time they come, they don't leave this cabin alive." Emma leaned into him, heart pounding, yet strangely calm. "Together," she whispered. Julian kissed her forehead. "Always." Outside, the wind howled through the pines. Inside, love, family, and courage fortified them. But somewhere in the shadows beyond the trees, eyes watched, waiting for the perfect moment to strike again. And this time, the storm was coming faster than anyone expected. The cabin was quiet except for the crackling of the fireplace. Julian, Emma, Liam, and Maya had spent the night preparing, barricading windows, hiding supplies, and mapping escape routes. But outside, the wind howled through the trees, carrying with it the inevitability of confrontation. Julian's eyes never left the forest. "They're coming," he said softly, tension coiling in his chest. "Andrew's network, they won't let him go easily." Emma took his hand, intertwining their fingers. "Then we fight together. No more running." Liam peeked out from behind her, wide-eyed. "Are we really going to fight?" Julian knelt to his level, smiling reassuringly. "Yes, buddy. But we fight smart. We fight together. And we protect each other." Maya checked the windows one last time. "They're professionals. They'll try to come at night in waves. But we're ready." The first sound came as a soft crunch on the snow-dampened ground. A scout, moving too close to the cabin. Julian nodded to Maya. "Now," he whispered. Maya's flare gun hissed, and a bright flash illuminated the treeline. The scout froze, then bolted, revealing the approaching forces. Julian grabbed Emma and Liam, pulling them into the hidden back room. "Stay here. Stay quiet. Do exactly as I say." Emma's hand clenched his. "I trust you." Outside, Julian and Maya met the first wave. But this time, they weren't alone. Liam, brave despite his fear, whispered quietly from behind the barricade, "I'm with you too, Dad." Julian felt his heart twist, a mixture of love, pride, and fear, and whispered back, "I know you are, buddy. I know you are." The battle began. Flashes of light from flares, the sound of shouts and scuffles, and the crack of branches filled the forest. But Julian and Maya were precise, moving strategically, forcing Andrew's network into disarray. Inside, Emma whispered words of courage to Liam, guiding him through every tense moment. "You're safe with us, Liam. You're strong and we're together." Outside, Julian confronted Andrew at last. The villain's face twisted in fury. "You think you've won?" he shouted. Julian advanced steadily, eyes blazing with determination. "I don't think, Andrew. I know. This ends tonight. No one hurts my family again." The fight was brutal but brief, Julian's training, courage, and love for Emma and Liam giving him the edge. Andrew was finally subdued, tied, and under Maya's watchful eye. The forest fell silent. The only sound was the distant wind and the pounding of hearts. Julian walked back into the cabin, mud and sweat streaking his face. Emma rushed to him, pulling him into her arms. Liam followed, hugging Julian's leg. "We did it," Emma whispered, tears streaking her cheeks. "We really did it." Julian held them both tightly. "We did. Together." Outside, the first rays of sunrise broke through the trees, painting the cabin in gold. The storm had passed, literally and metaphorically. Emma looked up at Julian, smiling through her tears. "You promised me a second chance at love." Julian smiled, brushing her hair back. "And I keep my promises. Always." Liam looked between them, a small grin spreading across his face. "Does this mean we're a family now?" Julian scooped him into a hug. "Yes, Liam. We're a family. Forever." Emma joined the embrace, and Julian pressed a gentle kiss to her forehead. "We survived everything, and we did it together. That's the beginning, not the end." The forest was quiet, peaceful, safe. But Julian knew that life would always bring challenges. What mattered most was love, courage, and family. And together they could face anything. Liam whispered, half asleep, leaning against Emma, "I think the dragon is happy now." Emma laughed softly. Julian smiled down at them both, heart full. "Yes, Liam," he said, voice soft but certain. "The dragon is happy." And for the first time in years, Julian, Emma, and Liam, their family, could breathe, knowing the storm had broken, but their love was unshakable.